Bro, I am so pissed off. I just recorded an entire recap of this week, like, like from where I left off from the last video, and I was on mute the whole time. So, oh my fucking god, I was recorded for over 30 minutes straight. But I'm gonna try and do it in less than 30 minutes this time. I'm not gonna drag it out as that much, hopefully. But yeah, guys. We're gonna recap the GU buys that I spoke about in the last video, which were pretty much over, but we're gonna run through that and go through every detail. Then we're gonna go through gold sells today after CPI and why it made sense. That was a pretty good trade, but it was heavily dependent on the volume for news. And then we're going to go through potential buys on SPX for the rest of the week, which is, we've only got Friday left, but could potentially have a decent amount of volume. SPX is in a good place. So we're going to see what happens with that, but let's start with GU and go through what I broke down in the last video. I'm just going to switch, but right. So this is a lot's happened on GU since Monday. So Monday we had the buys. The buys above here made sense because we had the price. We had our initial indication here. Price broke highs, made a new high above here at 0.2771. Corrected, pushed down, came nowhere near these lows where we had a major rejection here. A huge sign of reversal. This was also news. This was NFP from last week, which is what we broke down in the last video. So I'm not really going to go too much into that. But obviously this reaction here, rejection, is very, very important. I'm just, oh fucking hell, I just had to look there and make sure that you can actually hear me talk. Fuck, I can't believe I recorded for 30 minutes on mute, bro. I didn't even look, but just had to check there. So yeah, we didn't break a low. We made a new low here at 0.2673. So this was essentially the higher low that was made after the higher high, basically, and then price began to pick up in bullish volume. Broke lower time frame structure, of course, to the upside right here, and we were in session. It made sense to take buys above here. Price pushed massively at the start of session with volume. Came very, very close to our target around, I believe, it was only around, what, like 4 pips away. It went overall 37 pips in profit. So I secured a majority of profits around 35, 34 pips. And then I let the rest run, but obviously it got stopped out. Did secure enough profits to actually make it a win still, so we're good on that. But it was unfortunate price did reverse because it just lost volume, basically. It happened so fast. Well, not really, but like eventually price just lost volume, and by the time price felt like it was going to push back up, it was out of session, so it didn't even have the volume to like attempt to break the highs. And obviously it did attempt to break the highs here. You see massive rejection and momentum slowing down as the candles get smaller and smaller, and price pushed down and broke minor lows here. Technically price is bearish on the lower time frames here. and price went back into this range. And once price went back into this range, after it's pushed that high and close to this initial high, I'm no longer interested because it's back into the range, and now I know it's ranging. I know, like, you could be like, oh, I want my stop loss below here, but you can see this is 60 pips. I was not comfortable on like only a 40 pip range having a 60 pip risk, so I didn't want to have my stops anywhere near there, or I didn't really want to be taking a trade based on that. I just wanted to capture this small zone in session, and it made sense in New York session on Monday, but volume crashed very quick because there was no news, so there was no like volatility really. There was volume due to New York session, but there was no volatility like there was today, which we're going to go into on gold, because we've had the first lot of USD news this week. It was CPI. We've had no news all week up until Thursday, New York session for USD, and it was a one to remember, like on gold. Quite wild price action, but we're going to go into that next. I just wanted to highlight the fact that price did come very, very close to my TP, and I still count this as a win because it was well over 1 to 2 for me, and I secured a lot of the profits in session when price was extremely high. So when price was down here, I already secured a majority of the position, and when I seen price was down here in London session, I was no longer optimistic in the trade, so I did tighten my stops, and yeah, I managed it even more because I no longer believed that it was actually going to continue beyond those highs at this current moment. Unfortunately, it just teased us, but it is what it is, because then eventually we did push up and break those highs like we were meant to, and made a new high, and now we're going on to make even more highs with momentum and volume from CPI today. But yeah, as you can see, the overall trade idea was valid. It just unfortunately didn't all happen at that time, and it had to like correct, range for a little bit, and then push back above, and then fill the gap entirely. And then it did the exact same thing again, where it made a new high, corrected, and pushed back above straight again to make a new high. So just constantly repeating itself, bro, over and over again. Yeah, that was my first trade that I took on Monday this week. Let's go on to the next trade. Gold sells, right? I am really pissed, bro, because like I'm kind of. I was gonna wait to record this, but I just want to again upload up and because I know time moves so fast, and like before I know it, it's gonna be like next week, and I don't want to be behind on like recapping everything, you know. Like if I leave it a few days now, it's not even really going to be worth recapping this, but because other things would have happened and price would have changed. But anyway, we took some nice sells in New York session today. We had a very good sell on gold present itself after CPI. I'm going to be honest, I was not looking at gold at all this week, but when I did come to the chart today, I identified that we made a new low here on Monday. This is what you call a bearish indication to the downside, because we broke the lows, shifted, closed below. Even after this massive rejection, we closed below. It's a clear shift. Price pushed back above, closure above, and corrected the move. Then obviously price did its thing. Our session basically ranged, slowly pushed up to make a new high, but a lower high than the previous high, of course. So price was still very clearly bearish. Then we came into Tuesday New York session had a little bit of volume, caused a little bit of a shift down, lower time frame shift here on these lows, and then later in Asian session we broke the lows even more that we made in New York session. The price was clearly shifting down on the lower time frames. As you can see here, we were breaking lows. Then something wild happened as we broke lows. In Asian session we went and broke minor highs right afterwards. So we're kind of in an iffy spot here. We broke minor highs, so we need to break minor lows again. It kind of corrects itself for the for a bearish, because we haven't broke these highs here just yet, but we have broke these highs. I mean, I'll get into that. So we haven't quite broke these highs here just yet at this point. And price pushed back down again, and going into Wednesday New York session, we make a new low and we break these lows that were made in Asian session. But we rejected. We lost volume very quickly at the end of the session. There was no news today. Wednesday, sorry, there was no news here, no news here, and there was no news here. But there was news right here at today at 1:30 with CPI. So after Wednesday New York session closed, price obviously pushed up after making a new low to correct the move, because volume died in New York session and price needed to correct itself. So we did break a minor high, technically on the lower time frames. We were bullish for some time on the lower time frames, but that is normal after you've been bearish for a little bit. Broken kind of a major low here. This is kind of a major low, so this is a good shift for potential sells. Now, price was breaking highs when CPI dropped at 1:30. It broke obviously this high. Now, what had happened afterwards is a massive rejection. Something very key happened, is that we did not close above this level. We did not shift above this high because we had a massive rejection on the high time frames. We actually closed even lower on the hourly overall. So we know the price is shifting down each time. So here is where it last closed. And price tried to push up, broke the highs. Well, broke this high, rejected massively, and then closed below. And the same thing happened again. We broke the highs, rejected massively, and closed below the previous candle closes. So there's been no shift to the upside. Well, there is happening right now, kind of, but we're not interested in that because the trade's already unfolded and the idea is now invalid now because the trade's over. But at this time, we had a massive rejection to the upside, so this was perfect for the idea of sells. And obviously, with structure shifting down bit by bit, it could not break. It basically could not close above where it had previously closed for some time on the hourly. You can see prices going down, but we're breaking lows. We're shifting below as well. We're closing below. And then in session, prices pushes back below this level again. And now we have this shift here. We have this major rejection. We're in session. Everything's perfect for us to continue back below this level with volume and hopefully push below 2016 or 2017 level. And that did happen around, I think it was around 4:30 p.m, which is GMT, and that is, I believe, 11 a.m. Eastern. So yeah, it was a very, very quick trade because I got the entry at, I believe, when it was 4:20, so like 10 minutes after the trade had the trade was over because price moved that fast with volume. It was over with. And after all this price action had formed and we were in session, the volume just took over. It just made sense for us to push down. It was a high risk trade due to CPI. Like, I guess if you choose to trade CPI even afterwards is kind of on the risky side, but I was willing to take it. And I would never trade before CPI or during CPI. I wanted to wait until after CPI. And the price action just looked very good today. On gold, this major rejection, it was like, it was waving at me for sells. I had to take them. So, yeah, used minimal risk. I only captured like a 1 to 1.5. Basically, so like it wasn't quite a 1 to 1, 1 to 2. Sorry. It was more than a 1 to 1 though. A little bit of profit. It's a good trade to take. Honestly, just capitalize on the volume from CPI. And yeah, this was my second trade that I took this week. Third trade of 2024, I believe. Gold sells down from 2024 to 2017, which is 70 pips apart, isn't it? Yeah, 70 pips apart. Or 80 pips apart. Well, 70, 80. Whatever. Yeah, so those were the gold sells that I took today. Yeah, so GU buys that we covered, they pretty much hit TP on Monday, so I was pretty much out of the trade for Monday, and then later took the highs later in the week. As I said in the last video, but I haven't said it in here, but I'm not looking for anything on GU right now until I see some clean price action outside of this range that we've got here. You can see it clear on the high time frames. Basically this range here, don't like this at all. I want out. I really want out of this, to be honest, but like all of this. But we'll have to wait and see. Gee, I'm not going to touch this pair for, I'm probably not even going to touch this next week, so I'm going to leave this. But now let's go on to SPX, which is going to be my outlook for Friday, basically, right? Just a quick breakdown with this, because I'm going to do another video on this if it actually goes the way I want it to go anyway. So right, so initially I think we covered this in the last video as well. Monday's price action, we broke a high, we shifted to the upside on the hourly after breaking lows for some time. Broke a low there, broke a low there, broke a low there. We've been breaking lows since basically the 29th of December, which I believe was the last day of the year. It broke a major low. And then we've been breaking lows ever since on the hourly until we made a major rejection here and failed to break below this low. And made another major rejection here while we reversed towards the highs and had a clean break to the upside. So now this is a clean shift. We can see clear as day. Price is bullish on the hourly, and price is moving up. We're looking to take price towards the highs now. Price did then correct after Monday slightly, made a new low at 4735, then proceeded to push as volume came with the sessions. Price pushed up above the 4771 high, making a new high again. So we've had a high here, then we've had a respect of the lows down here, no break in the lows down here, and now a new high again. So that's a second bullish confirmation of this trend. Price corrects today and does not break this major low that we have at 4735 now. So price is respecting major lows while breaking major highs. I am looking to take price beyond 4806. I'm looking to take potential buys above 4772. In session, not right now. Currently is in session pretty much. I'm looking for price to push back below this level, the 4771 level, in Asian session, and kind of correct this impulsive move that we've had back above that level. And then hopefully we can be in this area and tapped into this fair value gap potentially on the hourly. And coming into New York session when PPI drops tomorrow. That was another thing as well. The reason why I just want to add this real quick. Another reason why I took gold sells. These gold sells was, where is it? I've lost the tab, I think. Oh yeah, it was fueled also by bullish USD news, which fueled dollar strength, because we had majority of the news drop better than expected, which is good for the currency. While we had one core CPI month to month, it was actually on target instead of better than expected, which is still good. But overall, the sentiment for this data is good. So it's good for USD, which fueled my sell position just that little bit more on gold, because it was fueled by the dollar getting stronger, which by default is gonna bring down the price of everything else in comparison to the dollar, unless that other currency or other commodity or whatever it might be has other influence. So it doesn't mean just because the dollar is weak or strong or whatever that it's going to have a direct effect inverse to everything else, but sometimes it will. And that's just like kind of an extra confirmation that you can add to your price action and overall setups that you're looking for in the markets. You can't just trade based off the data that I've just shown you, or the news in general, you know. It's like an extra confirmation, I guess, and it doesn't really, like, the news itself doesn't stand on what, like, without the price action, it can't stand by itself, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was just to fuel that gold bearishness. But as you can see, it didn't really last, because I don't think the dollar strength is really going to last, because I think the dollar is bearish overall. Still off breaking those major lows in November at the end of the year. So I still think the dollar has a lot of falling to do. And just because of the strength today doesn't mean that the dollar is bullish overall. That's basically what I'm saying. Oh, I've got to go back to gold. Yeah, that was just another thing to fuel it, and I didn't necessarily just taking those sells today on gold doesn't mean that I think gold is bullish or bearish long term. It just made sense in New York session today to take those sells, and had my target not been hit by, let's say, 3 p.m. Eastern today, I would have closed, because I would have probably came to terms with the fact that it's never gonna hit target. and I'm probably going to get stopped out. But yeah, it didn't last that long. It was already hit target before I knew it, so didn't have that problem, and this was a dub. I believe I'm like, I don't know. I mean, technically, the GU trade isn't really a winner, but it is at the same time because it's a 30 pip trade. I call well over 30 pips and well over 1 to 2, and that's why I secured most of it at the end of the session. But it didn't actually hit target on Monday. It only hit target like later in the week, and a lot of things happened during that time. But yeah, overall I'm happy with this trade that I took on GU buys and the sells that I took on gold today. I hope this helped you guys or helped anyone out there. Mainly just do this to document, and hopefully I can help people in the process. But yeah, I will do another add-on to this. I'm really pissed I fucking lost the original footage because I know that shit was better because I had better energy. Obviously not doing it the first time, you know. I'm a little bit like annoyed at that, but it is what it is. And I feel like I did a very good job at like describing. Well, I just think it was much better the first time, but oh well, it is what it is. I'll catch you guys later in the next video. Yeah, I hope. Did I go through SPX like entirely? I mean, went through it quite a bit. Like, I basically don't want price to break below this level. If price breaks below 4741, then I'm no longer interested in buys at this current time. But as long as price stays below this high before New York session or before the news PPI tomorrow, PPI tomorrow at 1:30. We've got pound news as well in the morning, but we're not interested in that. We're interested in this, the core PPI month to month and the PPI month to month. So we'll be trading potentially after this, depending on where price is at that time. I want a price to be like down here, ideally, but we'll have to see. As long as price stays above these highs, I keep on fucking saying. As long as price stays above these lows, here and here, we should be bullish. But I don't want price to break highs out of sessions, so I really want it to stay away from these highs for now. But that's where I'm looking to target tomorrow New York session if I can find a setup. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for the rest of the week. That's the only thing I'm looking for. If price is not in the place that I want it come 1 o'clock tomorrow, I'm done for the week. That means you probably won't hear from me until like the weekend. But I potentially might do a video tomorrow if I do take a trade. So we'll see. Yeah, and I'll go way more in depth on that individual trade. But yeah, 2 for 2 this week. GU, gold. And yeah, I'm happy to be done with this week and on to the next. I think we got a decent amount of news next week. Just quickly check. Bank holiday on Monday. Then we have a little bit of news Tuesday. Fuck's sake, why have I been? A little bit of news Tuesday. Ton of news. Pound CPI on Wednesday. And retail sales. Along with consumer sentiment on Friday. Right, that's awesome. Plenty of volume next week. And yeah, well, let's see what happens tomorrow. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna end this video here. I hope this video helped you guys. Yeah, man. Tap into the next one. Catch you guys later. Peace.